the dying embers of James DeGale in February 2019, and it was the last time in truth that he got a real workout over the distance. Matvey Korobov at the end of 2019 was a bit of a disappointment for him. It was a feeler round for the first 3 minutes. Korobov's shoulder went in the second, and that really was the last time that he was out. And I asked him on Thursday if he was feeling the pinch now, coming back down to 160 at the age of 31. He said, I expected that I would, but the truth is I had pancakes on Thursday. He was never a natural 168-pounder, and the financial lure of the World Boxing Super Series was too much to turn down, but he's back where he naturally belongs. Marcus Morrison, he's lost to a couple of guys in Alistair Warren and Ty Mbu, though the shorter distance that he really shouldn't have, Paul, and he's better than his record suggests.
Yeah, he definitely should have lost the fights that he lost, but it was him, it was his own problems, what was going on at the time, whether it be mentally or physically. He just wasn't there, he wasn't at the races. This is a perfect and the biggest opportunity that Marcus Morrison is going to get and that he's had so far, and he needs to grab it with both hands. He needs to capitalise, and as I've said, I feel, my opinion, knowing both, being in the ring with both and sparred both fighters, Marcus Morrison needs to command the respect of Chris Eubank Jr. early on, because once Eubank Jr. gets into his rhythm, starts to let go and starts to find the target, more importantly, he's going to start having fun. When he starts to have fun, which he does in fights, he's going to turn the screw and put the pressure on, put the foot on the gas and take over.
Both fighters backstage, ready to ring walk. Let's hear from David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Manchester, England, we are set to go with a special middleweight attraction. And now set to make his ring walk, please welcome the tough young Mancunian charge, Marcus Sweet M&M Morrison.
I never took the straight man nowhere. Life was twisted turns, bumps and bruises. I live, I learn. I'm from the city full of yellow gas and skyscrapers. It's hard to get started in spots without paper. Homie, I'm broken down. I'm blocked away from heaven. Only 15 minutes if it was 7. Everywhere you go, occupational options. This is what was hard. Shoot the ball on the rap, learn to rap on the jack. Up a man in the meantime, go ahead and pump my back. It's my royal flow, my James Bond mouse. Got double 07 and 62 on. I'm on the cover liar. I lie under the covers. Look up, give my eyes and tell her, baby, I love her. Give her this give her more revenge. Do the reason that I love her with no hesitation. From school, a hard knocks, I just hop by the drive, graveyard, picking blocks, smoking spots. I'm trying to stay, then I'm gonna lose it. How long till stuff up in the kitchen, she crib. My mom in the depths, give me the more time.
And now set to make his ring walk, please welcome the next gen, Chris Eubank Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, from Manchester, England, live on Sky Sports Box Office and DAZN, we are set to go with a special middleweight attraction. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with Wasserman Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Wow Hydrate, AO.com, and JD Sports. Introducing your 3 judges scoring this contest, all from the United Kingdom. From Doncaster, Howard Foster. From Fleetwood, Steve Gray. And from Twickenham, Marcus McDonald. Your timekeeper from Widnes is Chris O'Connor. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring from Doncaster, A-star referee, Mr. Michael Alexander. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, standing with his head trainer, Joe Gallagher. He wears the white trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 11 stone, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, 23 victories, 3 defeats, and 16 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the reigning WBC International Silver Middleweight Champion, fighting out of Manchester, England, Marcus Sweet M&M Morrison. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He stands with his head trainer, future Hall of Famer Roy Jones Jr. He wears the red trunks with the blue camouflage trim. He scaled 11 stone, 7 pounds, 9 ounces. His professional record, 29 victories, 2 defeats. He has 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former IBO Super Middleweight Champion and the reigning WBA Interim Middleweight Champion of the World, fighting out of Brighton, England. Here is the next gen, Chris Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr.
So Chris Eubank Jr. shrugs off an absence of 511 days when he beat Matt Korobov, who had to retire after 2 rounds with that shoulder problem. And that is all the action he's had in 2 years and 3 months since he beat James DeGale, going up against Marcus Morrison, who is certainly stepping up massively in class. Both these two men have had a bad experience in this house. Morrison is 8-1 here, but he lost against Jason Wellborn over 10. That led him to a little tailspin where he ended up losing 3, and his career seemed to be spiraling out of control, but he's pulled himself out of that now. And Eubank, well, he lost here to George Groves back in February 18 at super middleweight. But it's a chance for Morrison to catapult himself up the levels if he can bring off the big upset here. And if you look at Giovanni Straffen, a 9-1 underdog, and Spider Richards, a 10-1 underdog. The bookies don't fancy Morrison at all. 16-1 you could get on him this morning. And as for Eubank, a chance to see what he's learned under the tutelage of Roy Jones Jr. in Pensacola, Florida, where those two have been holed up for quite a while. And Eubank said he's revitalized me and he's really changed my mental approach to the game as much as anything.
Not much happened in the first minute of the fight. Marcus Morrison landed a lovely jab just after the first bell. Landed the jab to the body. It's all really, he's really thrown so far, just jabs and trying to judge the distance. Marcus Morrison trying to jab and then claim him. Eubank still struggling to find his distance at the moment.
Remember Marcus Morrison in the Joe Gallagher gym? You know, he was the baby of the group. You're all British champion level, all above, and I remember Marcus being as physically in shape like this. He really has filled out beautifully. Looked terrific on the scales yesterday.
Always in fantastic condition, as is Eubank. Eubank has always been in phenomenal condition, and as Chris mentioned earlier, to go up to 168 and hold your own, and listen, he did hold his own at that weight with the likes of George Groves, just for the opportunity, because the opportunity of that tournament and the lure of the financial pay of that tournament and the opportunity to become world champion and Super Series champion. It shows you what he's about, Chris Eubank Jr. He's just easing into this round. As I said, there's not been much from him, and he's been caught with a couple of jabs, but I think we can expect more from Eubank Jr.
Joe Gallagher in the Morrison corner. He knows what an opportunity this is for Morrison. I must admit, I thought he was fading away. Losses to the likes of Ty and Booth, who went 1 in 11 when he got the better of Marcus over 4 rounds. Then Alistair Warren, who was 10 and 18 at the time, and he just thought, oh, Morrison and his promise is going to just fade away. But he has pulled a string of 6 wins together, mostly against journeymen, but he did go to Italy and get a very good win against Emanuele Blandamura back in July 2019. And if he can replicate that kind of performance tonight against Eubank, he can certainly make it interesting. And he certainly doesn't look too out of his depth here. A very tentative start from Chris Eubank Jr., having a good look at Marcus Morrison there. Good.
Yeah, you mentioned the time booth defeat there. The first time I ever saw Chris Eubank Jr. box was around about 2013 against Ty and Booth. He's an Ingles gym fighter, very, very slippery, very awkward to look good against, especially over the 4-round distance. And you know, you've only got to give away 2 or 3. You've lost the contest, and you've got no chance to get back into it. Eubank really struggled against Booth as well. Alistair Warren, again, a fighter that he shouldn't have lost against, but he is better than his record suggests. Just listen to what Roy Jones is saying.
Otherwise, it's, you want this thing. If you want to stop the jail, just put your hand on it. Make him the jail where he comes from. That's all he did. Yeah. Put the hand on his neck. You can't do it. But don't let him. Trying to hold you.
10 seconds, corners. Seconds out. Round 2.
And that's been another big change for Eubank Jr., and it's something we've talked about a lot this week. I know you guys have talked about it, yourself, Chris, and Darren Barker. Many others have made the observations that Eubank was very happy to sort of run his own camps, do his own thing. But, you know, you're working with Roy Jones. You're listening to one of the greats now. Yeah,
well, I guess in the old days, he had his dad kind of stepping in between the ropes and doing this bizarre kind of posturing in a full suit. Ronnie Davis being made to stay outside of the ropes. And I think when his dad was telling him things, he wasn't really listening. And he's always seemed like a fighter that's been very strong-willed. And it was always going to take someone of immense sort of stature and who really gained his respect in order for him to listen. And okay, Roy Jones is one of the greatest of all time, and he has finally started to listen. And you know, Jones said earlier this week he's not going to suddenly just turn into, you know, some sort of Roy Jones remake. He said, but what I can try and do is upgrade his own software based on the fighter he is and maximise the attributes that he's got. One of those is being more patient. 2 is not just seeing sparring as an exercise to try and take people's heads off, to actually learn things in a technical aspect. And well, this is the most patient start we've seen from Eubank, arguably at any stage of his career so far.
We've seen him when he sat down in the corner saying he's going to come apart soon. That was Chris Eubank saying that, obviously, about Marcus Morrison. But what I liked seeing them, which used to frustrate the life out of me with Chris Eubank Jr., is the eye contact with Roy Jones, looking in his eyes, listening, nodding his head, paying attention. And you have to pay attention when you've got a trainer like Roy Jones Jr. in your corner because of his experience, the knowledge that he has as a trainer. If he's passing anything on to you, you listen.
Long time.
Nice counter there from Eubank. Morrison was teased to make the first move, and he paid for it.
He just landed a good jab before he got caught there, Marcus Morrison. I think the tactics from Joe Gallagher and Marcus Morrison, not that I know, but what I've seen on the pads and a couple of little build-ups is 1-2 or throw a jab, the right hand, then claim Eubank and stop him from loading up.
When Eubank starts letting the punches flow, he is a hurtful puncher, and he's really doing some damage downstairs, switching it upstairs.
Morrison needs to hold. Morrison needs to fire back or hold.
Eubank steps away.
Well, he wants some rounds, doesn't he?
That's blatantly obvious, because at the moment he is just picking Morrison apart. He could have possibly finished it there if he'd really fancied it.
Big welt just behind the right eye of almost the temple of Marcus Morrison.
You know, this all began when he took that big counter. He felt the power of Eubank, and it's shaken him. Looks comfortable now, Eubank, but what about that? He had him in trouble and he just stepped right away, and as you said, Chris, he wants a workout tonight.
Because that's what Roy Jones used to do so beautifully, almost kind of bait you in with a lazy posture, that low lead left hand, and then make you pull the trigger, commit over the front foot, and then suddenly catch you with something hurtful. Caught with that right hand there by Marcus Morrison, didn't he? But when Eubank let the hands go,
yeah,
he just went flat, didn't he, Paul?
As soon as Eubank started to land, then I think the referee was having a good look there. There was nothing coming back from Morrison at all, and that's worrying. You don't want to see that. You know, this is the biggest fight of your life now against someone like Chris Eubank. This is a scalp. This is a major scalp. You can punch. You can punch really hard. You have to go with him. You have to go with him and swing with him and fight with him.
10 seconds, corners.
I love how calm the advice is from Roy Jones in the corner. Just speaking, just quiet, calm.
Round 3.
You know, a great athlete in any sport doesn't necessarily become a great coach, but you get the sense with Roy Jones Jr. that he is an outstanding coach as well, because and you think of the skill set that he had, you know, that footwork, the hand speed, the reflexes, those aren't the qualities you associate with Chris Eubank. You know, he's not going to make him, as you said earlier, a clone of himself. But what he will do is work and develop his other attributes, and that's going to be a fascinating journey.
The problem Eubank has had over the years, he's never really had the element of surprise. He's always put everything into every single shot, and so for those opponents, people like Arthur Abraham, who can tuck up well, have got durability, they get used to that power, and even though some of those fights have been one-sided in his favour, he's always just been in danger of settling into that rhythm, whereas you do what he's doing now and you just bait, you just have that low lead left hand just waiting for something. When you do catch your opposite man, it's a little bit more hurtful, but that was better from Marcus Morrison.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was Eubank that committed himself. And he's got to believe in himself here. There's a real mental side of this for Marcus Morrison. He's got to have faith in himself that he can mix it at this level. Lovely, nice, lovely right-hand counter there from Morrison to the body.
Got to be positive, Nick, as you say, Morrison. He's got to have his own belief in this fight now. I'm here I am. Keep that centre of the ring now. Don't take any more steps back. Keep the centre of the ring. Eubank is looking for feinting the body and coming in with a left hook. Very, very typical and similar of what Roy Jones used to do back in the day. He's having a walk. He's making a show. He's making it all about him. But Marcus Morrison has to do his own game, stick to his own game plan, and try and catch Eubank as he's coming in. Eubank, as we said, you know, as Chris said earlier, he needs rounds. He's been out for a long time, and he's looking to get these rounds. I felt he could have closed the show in the second round before, but he chose and opted to get more rounds in, so he has to keep sticking to his game plan, what he's doing.
Look at all this feinting. Who can draw the mistake? Real cat and mouse stuff going on in there at the moment. Oh, who's going to go? Who's going to go? And who's going to get counted? Yeah, Eubank saying, well, you come in, and Morrison went for the jab, but yeah, mind games now from Eubank. Lots of mind games, but Morrison not getting dragged into anything here.
Eubank's actually repeating back the corner advice that Morrison's receiving.
This is when Eubank needs to commit, when Morrison's got only a foot or so between him and the ropes, because Morrison's probably got the quicker feet of the two of them. And so when they're at centre ring and Eubank overcommits, Morrison can just take that half step back. But Eubank needs to kind of work his man back to the ropes, use those feints to try and push him back, and then go to work, because the moment when they're long.
Okay.
It's not the easiest task for Eubank to catch him clean.
So every chance we get, we need this. Okay? We gotta always invest in this. All right? So soon we feel something, soon he start punching, we invest right back there. When he get close, he don't want to fight. So he's gonna stop fighting. From fighting, period, we get close. We don't fight at all.
Well, there's a relaxed dressing room for Joseph Parker. Very laid-back guy. Says he absolutely loves his time in the UK.
Don't pay Joe no attention. Fuck Joe.
I'll be seeing a lot more of him.
Yes, sir. He has to stay focused. Pay him no attention. I mean, I like Joe, but you can't worry about that. Let's go.
10 seconds, corners.
Love that. And yes, sir, from Chris Eubank Jr.
Round 4.
Round 4 then. Eubank Jr. had Marcus Morrison in some trouble in the second round. Did not press the issue. And the third round was a lot more even and a lot more cagey. Here we are in round 4 of this 10-rounder. Not all Eubank's fault, of course, that he's been absent for over 500 days. As the pandemic put paid to a possible fight with Jamal Charlo, which never materialised as a result of COVID. So he'll be looking to make up for lost time. Nice right-hand counter again from Morrison. Eubank takes a big step back off the back of it. You do say, Paul, that he can bang. If he gets you, you'll know about it, Morrison.
He can punch. He's just giving Eubank something to think about by getting close with these counters. I'm not saying they're all landing from Morrison. But Marcus Morrison with them small gloves on, if he hits you, you will know about it. Eubank looks comfortable. He looks like he's easing into it. But every now and then, Morrison will try a counter like that and give Eubank something to think about.
Side to side, tap, 2. Nice, lovely, good, lovely, good.
Yeah. Morrison giving Eubank a taste of his own medicine there, and Joe Gallagher enjoyed that.
Good. Nice, lovely. Lovely, good. Good.
For Eubank, once he lands a shot, Morrison will try and counter, but then when Eubank goes in for the second phase, there is no counter from Morrison, and he'll take us back to the ropes, and that's when Eubank can unload. That's what Eubank needs to do more of now. See, so now here's where you've got him now. Once the counter's gone, there's not many more coming back from Morrison.
He said earlier he doesn't want to be sitting on those ropes. Takes a body shot there as well, Morrison. Saw the reaction.
Rhythm, good.
See, there's got to be more from Morrison there. You've been on the receiving end of one exchange, and then you come out and you're in with distance to punch, and it's just a little bit gun shy there from Morrison. We've got to see more from him. Got to establish his own jab.
Right hand higher, pulling in. Step across. He'll step across, Marcus. He'll step across. There you go, good.
He does that really well, Eubank. He can throw 2, 3, 4 jabs on the bounce to the head or to the body.
Right hook round, left hook, whichever, take your pick. There you go, good.
There he goes again with that right hand counter. Again to the body.
Nice, lovely, good. Feet, rhythm. You think, there you go, lovely.
He's been switched on since getting roughed up in that second round, Marcus Morrison, no question about that.
Good luck. I feel champ. Yeah, good. Lovely work. But keep fighting this and I'll get more.
You can hold it, but it's not so hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep him fighting more. The more you keep him fighting, the more fatigue you're going to get. All right? Yeah. I mean, you got to keep it on it even when he's trying to rest. Keep it on it. Make him think he's coming. Make him think he's coming. He never know when he's coming. You get what you want, but you're going to make him also show you what he's trying to do.
Bang. Yep. Step, slip, bang, all right? Or slip, throw the right hand, and he'll duck down, and you can move that left hook to the body or left hook.
Now you get him to eventually he's going to come, then you go get him. All right? Meanwhile, just boxing, have fun. Looking good. Don't take off too much. You understand me? Keep yourself in the fight mentally. Been off a long
10 seconds, corners.
Get these rounds, get the best of it, okay?
Seconds out. Round 5.
Fascinating battle of the coaches, isn't it? Roy Jones Jr. in the Eubank corner, and Gallagher, who had so much success with the 4 Smith brothers, taking 2 of them to world titles, along with Anthony Croller and Scott Quigg, and taking a bunch of others to domestic level and above as well. There was a track record of success over 5 or 6 years there, coming out of that Gallagher gym, and Morrison was a part of that as well. It's really unprecedented. Now, can Morrison get the big win here, or is Eubank finally deciding to load up here? Well, they're both going for it.
I think the advice from Roy Jones in the corner at the end of that round was very, very good for Chris Eubank Jr. Don't take too much off now.
Well, he's starting to let it go, isn't he? That right hand starting to look menacing from Eubank. There it is, another body shot. Comes in from Eubank. He got the uppercuts in there as well. Morrison now bleeding from the nose as well. That was a really vicious assault from Chris Eubank, and it's had its effect.
Yeah, what he did really nicely when Morrison was on the ropes there, Nick, was just adjusted his range really well. He just smothered his work a couple of times when he has committed in previous rounds. With that, he just adjusted the feet, took a little half step out in the middle of the combination. That allowed a few more shots to get through clean, and as you say, busted up the nose of Marcus Morrison. And well, the first meaningful passage of action in these 5 rounds, and it's taken a long time to get going. And at the beginning of the round, I was going to say to you, it's about time somebody starts to make their move on this contest, and Eubank has now done so.
That's what I was trying to explain when Roy Jones said it to Chris Eubank Jr. Look, you know, don't take too long off now. You've had a couple of rounds off with nothing's really happened. Put your foot on the gas, in other words, and he certainly did that in the first minute of that round then.
And then has taken the next minute off.
Don't just throw as a single, throw as a 2 and as a 3.
Backed up again, Eubank. Well, he's talked about sparring a lot this week, and how his approach is different under Roy Jones Jr. He talked about technical spars, which are self-explanatory. He's used a lot of this fight almost as a technical spar here, Eubank. Sort of working things out in a live situation. But you do get the feeling, we saw it in the second round and we saw it at the start of this 5th round, that if Eubank does want to go through the gears, he can make life very uncomfortable for Marcus Morrison here, but he's happy just to fight in little bursts.
I think it's against guys like Murata and Golovkin. They're going to make him fight for far more of the 3-minute rounds than Marcus Morrison is. I think, well, Eubank's been happy to sort of coast and take time off in rounds. Morrison's also been happy as well to let him do so, but he's not going to have that luxury against the top guys in the division, whether it's Charlo, whether it's Golovkin, whether it's Murata. He's going to have to work, and his output's going to have to be better than what it's been tonight.
The output will have to be better, and it's also a case of now at the moment, can you work bell to bell for 10 rounds or 12 rounds? Can you work for 3 minutes of a round? Not everyone can, I understand that, but if it's one burst a round, that's not going to be enough for the likes of Murata, Golovkin. And I know we're just looking at his first fight back, and as he said himself, over 500 days, but the one burst and one flurry per round is not going to be enough for the top guys at the weight.
You see there's the adjustment that I was just talking to you about. So he does it 2 or 3 times, goes in, burst, then adjusts the feet, and that gives him the distance to land the shots that he needs to land instead of smothering his work. And that was really good spell for him. And if he can put together 2 or 3 more of those, I mean, you look at the damage that did to the face of Marcus Morrison and the tentativity that caused just with 2 or 3 chained up attacks where he put his shots together. Just shows you the potential that
responsible pressure.
He's got.
He's a wounded animal. He's a wounded animal, you feel me? You know, go unresponsible because he's a wounded animal is dangerous. Just stay really keep doing shit. Really hurt his bed the last round with the
10 seconds, corners.
Just show you the jab, give him a round.
Seconds out.
Listen, you've got some shots now, you've got to let them go.
Round 6.
The schedule for 10 as we go into round 6. I can't be the only one who senses that Chris Eubank could end this one whenever he wants to, really, if he just puts a sustained burst of pressure together.
But also, and Paul's alluded to this, and Paul, you know firsthand that Marcus Morrison can really crack, and there's obviously some respect there that's stopping him from just wading in with complete ignorance, and he's obviously felt the power, and he knows he can't just get overzealous and step into range.
Yep, and listen, I'm not saying that Morrison's actually, you know, really in this fight, but after that second round, when Eubank has let him off the leash, basically, and let him off the hook, so to speak, it could have given Marcus Morrison that little bit of confidence. I think Marcus Morrison froze in the second round. I think when that attack came from Eubank, the sort of the walls started closing in on him, but he seemed to have weathered the storm, and the previous onslaught in the 5th round there, Morrison was actually firing back. He was trying to catch and counter, he was trying to retain shots as well, albeit Eubank was in control and dominating.
And here we go back to the cagey stuff again.
There you go.
That was nice.
You've seen that set up straight away there from Eubank. He feinted the jab to the body and Morrison reacted by dropping his hand. His left hand come down to pour that Eubank's jab to the body and then a right hand come over next. Just setting a trap.
And here he goes unloading again. As you say, Morrison knows that he can't just sit and freeze, but he takes some body shots there. And then a switch upstairs, that uppercut ripped through. We've seen him destroy opponents with the uppercut before, and now he is putting it together. Can he keep the foot down here again? Another vicious body shot followed by the uppercut, and he's picking some really nasty punches here.
Good shot there.
Another right hand, and Morrison is unraveling here. And there might be a decision for the referee because now nothing is coming back.
He needs to get off the ropes, Morrison. I'd like to see Morrison just fire back with fast shots instead of looking and loading up for the big power shots.
Now, does Eubank sit back and admire his work again and just take his time, get himself another couple of rounds, or does he go for the finish here? He's still got nearly a minute left of this 6th round. And he's just picking Morrison apart, just ripping the body shots in.
He's rolling really, really well in between these attacks, always seeing what's coming back and still adjusting those feet mid-combination to give himself the room that he needs. And these are nice adjustments, and we're just slowly starting to see those nuances and the software upgrade that clearly him and Roy Jones have been working on over these last 18 months. And well, it's taken a little while to get going this, but certainly there are signs that Eubank, although rusty, and there's no doubt that he is rusty, that he has started to level up his skill set, his thinking and his boxing IQ.
This thing with Eubank as well, I've seen it before in sparring. I experienced it myself when I'm in sparring. He'll have a big burst and he'll go for a walk, and it's just pinching a rest. It's looking like you're admiring your work, but you're stealing a rest, and you're just working in bursts, so it doesn't look too bad. You know, you don't look too tired because you're walking around. There's a bit of the flash bravado as you're walking, but you're resting while you're doing it, and it's good work when he's on the ropes and he throws a lot of punch volume. There's a lot of amount of punches which come out, and the spiteful punches and the powers in him. You can see the head movement. He's watching the counters coming back, and it's quality to watch. It really is good, but then he'll go and steal the rest, which is clever.
Well, Morrison has managed to survive that barrage. Just kept himself busy enough to stop the referee stepping in.
10 seconds, corners. Seconds out. Round 7.
Round 7 then of this 10-rounder. The Roy Jones Jr. trained Chris Eubank Jr. in control now against a very brave Marcus Morrison, who's had his moments, has landed some nice counters, but really hasn't made any kind of a dent in Eubank at all. And to get Eubank's attention, you do have to make some kind of dent in him. It's been pretty much doing what he wants in there thus far. Talked earlier about Roy Jones Jr. and what good footwork he had. Is it my imagination, guys, or is Eubank's footwork looking really smooth tonight?
He's holding himself in a similar fashion, isn't he, to what Roy Jones used to do? You know, the left hand down, leaning forward over the front foot and then pulling back. And I don't think there'll ever be another Roy Jones Jr., but if you can pick anything up off him, it's going to be a bonus and it's going to help your career, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he's got naturally quick feet, Chris Eubank. I think one thing he does struggle is really closing range quickly. He can kind of take that hop step out of range backwards, but I think coming forwards he's always sort of struggled, and that's where he relies on people over-committing in order to counter. And of course, listen, we know he's got quick hands, he's got very, very good hands when he lets them go, but his feet are something that I think, you know, that's almost intrinsic. You can teach a fighter how to position yourself and where to move, but that explosive snap and that natural spring just misses. You just see there, just kind of reaches with that jab a little bit, and he relies on fighters being in range rather than himself to really cover that gap in an explosive manner. But certainly his skill set, and there are signs that the IQ is developing. And that's been the benefit of them working together for the last 18 months. Yes, he's been inactive, but he's been sparring. They've had time to bed in a completely new set of philosophies and ideas. And he's 31 now, so Roy Jones knows he can't reinvent the wheel with this kid. And I'm sure there's been points in the last 18 months where he's thought, I wish I could have had this kid 5-6 years ago. Could have maybe done a little bit more with him. But if it sharpens him up and it maximises the tools that he's got at this stage of his career and gives himself the best possible chance, if he does get one of these big names, then that is what Eubank can hope for at this stage of his career.
Yeah, he said the inactivity was a blessing in disguise because he and Roy Jones Jr. were locked away, weren't they? That's nice again from Eubank. There he is looking for the body shots again, and Morrison in trouble once again, tucks up.
Referee's having a good look at Morrison here. I don't think he'll take another onslaught like the previous round.
Well, he had a good look last time and gave him the benefit of the doubt. 30 seconds for Marcus Morrison to navigate his way through here in this 7th round. And again, Eubank having had his little burst of success, happy just to coast through again.
There you go, good. Good, step across again.
Tell you, the longer it's gone on, the less success Marcus Morrison has had.
See Marcus Morrison missing with the left hook there, trying to lead with a left hook, and Eubank countered him with his own left hook, hit Morrison, and then come at him again with another onslaught, which the referee was having a good look at Morrison there.
You gotta hit him just in the area. When you can't still jab, pop it. You can win the fight with a jab. And if you get him to make a mistake, just cut him up. You don't make a mistake, just ask him on with the pop shot. You don't got to do too much. We be small. You've seen everything he's
10 seconds, corners.
Just keep it up. Load him.
Seconds out. Come on. Round 8.
Round 8 then, and Chris Eubank in complete control here. A very brave and a very willing effort this from Marcus Morrison. But there's always been that gap in class between them, and it's just grown wider and wider the longer this one has gone on.
Good to hear Roy Jones in the corner to Chris Eubank. You've seen everything this kid's got. You can win it on your jab alone. I don't think Chris Eubank will be happy trying to win this fight on his jab alone as Morrison comes back attacking.
That was a good little spell there from Morrison. Boy, there's no quitting him, and there's certainly no lack of heart in him either. One of the attributes that we haven't really talked about with Eubank tonight, the chin he inherited from his genes. I mean, that is one of his great weapons. I mean, his dad was one of the toughest British fighters of all time. Boy, could he take a shot, and Eubank can take one as well. Eubank Jr. Morrison hasn't made any kind of dent at all.
It's going to take more than a single count as Morrison's been trying to land on Chris Eubank Jr. Has to go for it himself now.
There you go, good.
He's looking for the right-hand counter again there. Morrison, Eubank just backs away.
He's tried that same counter about 4 times tonight, Nick. 5 times, slip, right uppercut to the body or right hook to the body.
Good, step across. Reach in, step the back foot. Good, step across. Go in a straight line. Feet. Good. Step across.
Well, again, Eubank
Through the left foot, right hand.
just very happy. Just pace himself through this. Let's be honest, he gave away the game plan right in the 2nd round there, didn't he? He just wants to get rounds under the belt tonight, Eubank.
Yeah, for me, he fights in bursts, obviously, but I think he has a burst and then he takes a minute on, a minute off, or 30 seconds on, a minute and a half off. But then, for me, he has one big round and then he takes the next round off, and he'll have a good round and take the next one off.
Don't overeat. Step across, good. There, from there now. Come in, two-handed. There you go, good. Keep that there. Good. Good. Good.
Eubank finally decides to go on one of those bursts.
Good. Haste them by the shot. Haste them by the shot. Keep it good like that. Get the hand. Get the hand. Get the hand. Get the hand. Good call. Good hand. Good shot. Good shot.
Nice counter there from Eubank to the body. Classy shot.
Right. Let go.
Be smart with it. Yep. You sure? Yep. Keep digging that body like you're doing. Sometimes when you're going to the kid, you're doing that hand hollow carry hand. That's it. You make him look carry hand. Surprise.
Katie Taylor, co-main event, putting all her belts on the line against your stablemate. There she is, Natasha Jonas, who I thought was so good last time out against Terry Harper. A lot of people had her winning that one in a very, very close fight. Certainly the best performance of her professional career. And if she can replicate something similar tonight, who knows?
Yeah, I had her winning it myself, and she needs to replicate that and more tonight against, in my opinion, the pound-for-pound #1 in women's boxing, female boxing, Katie Taylor.
Round 9, Marcus Morrison still standing. Obviously a huge incentive for him if he can get the win in itself. That would just take him up quite a few levels, but he also got a cash incentive from Billy Joe Saunders, who offered to put his hand in his pocket if Marcus Morrison could get the win here.
Well, of course, that's in response to Eubank Jr., I think, putting £10,000 on Canelo Alvarez getting the knockout next weekend, isn't it?
I don't think there's any love lost between Chris Eubank and Billy Joe. I suspect he'll be watching this somewhere right now.
There you go, good.
Right now, I think his £10,000 is pretty safe, unless Morrison can pull out a right hand.
Better from Morrison. He's got to go for it. Eubank's landed and had success, but there's no point in standing off and just trying to out jab at this stage in the fight. When Eubank goes, try and go with him, try and land him. Same time punching is going to be the best chance that Marcus Morrison has of landing in this fight.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
This is not where he needs to be. Backed up on the ropes.
But here, Roy Jones in the middle of the previous round saying he doesn't like it to the body, you know, target the body more, and Eubank is obliged in this round and listened to his corner and his trainer.
You had a beautiful pause. But we ain't got no follow. Lead on the line. There you go.
Good job, good job.
Yeah, it was a nice jab, but he couldn't follow it up, Morrison. And instead, he's been on the receiving end of a few coming back at him from Eubank.
I mean, Eubank's best asset is his jab, and it's very, very underrated. He can land it from a lot of angles. It's fast, it's sharp, and he can mix it up well. And he's so unpredictable sometimes. He can throw 5 on the bounce. You know, he's got a really, really effective jab.
There you go. Good.
In case you're wondering, Eubank Senior is in the house. If there's a spotlight around, Senior will never be far away from it. I wonder what he makes of his son's performance here.
Composure.
Is that pull counter which Morrison, as I've said before, is very, very good at doing. He pulls back and lets a right-hand counter go. Eubank wise to it. Comes back with a nice left hook of his own there, Eubank.
Good. Head off the line, just outside. Good. Stop there. Get in good position. Good.
Fan it.
Don't spread out.
Fan it.
Yeah, there's that big right hand. And he couldn't follow it up.
Good defensive skills from Eubank, always being aware of what's coming back from Morrison. You can see it as the shot comes, see, just rolling underneath it, underneath the next one. Just very, very smart evasive skills from him. It's also having the confidence to wait till the very, very last second when the shot's coming to roll it and anticipate what's coming. The best in the world at doing that at the moment, in my opinion, is Canelo Alvarez. Just exceptional at waiting and waiting for the shot to come and just riding it at the last minute or getting off the wave at the last minute.
Paul, we all know what Chris Eubank Jr. is getting out of this fight. What do you think Marcus Morrison is getting out of this fight?
To be honest with you, I think he's learning a lesson in toughness and how to take a few shots. You know, going the distance is going to be a positive for him, but leave it all in there. You know, you need to attack this round.
Yes, the final round of 10 then. Eubank happy to box in burst, happy to show off the skills he's been learning in Pensacola, Florida. Put him into a live situation. Lovely again. He talks about the 4 and 5 jabs, Paul. There you go.
There's 6 on the bounce from him, mixing up the head and body. You know, and it's so unpredictable. It's so tough to defend against because a lot of fighters will naturally go back in a straight line.
Now, does he want the finish here? Oh, we better watch out for those counters. He caught one there, Eubank. Yeah, Morrison showing commendable grit here.
This is what I was saying from Morrison. This is what you want to see. You know, if you're going to go out on your shield, but go out swinging and go out fighting in this last round here. You've got one opportunity at this.
Well, I think he buzzed Eubank Jr. there.
No question. No question. That might just settle Chris Eubank down to just take this one all the way. That was really nice from Marcus Morrison there. And I just thought Eubank had decided, right, let's put the grandstand finish in here, and he whacked him one with that counter.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say a couple of rounds ago. Same time punching is your biggest chance with someone like Chris Eubank when he's not really ready for what you're going to throw back because he's too busy on the attack himself.
Good. Left and move right. Good. You're looking for it. You're getting in the jab. Jab out of the chest. There you go. Good. Body shots, Marcus. Good.
Yeah, Eubank has obviously decided, yeah, I'll take this all away now. Oh, maybe not. There's another one of those lefts to the body.
You can see Morrison leaning over to his right every time as if he's trying to look for the right hand over the top. Good right hand there from Eubank.
Posture, chin down, feet side up. Left up, good. Left up to the body. Go on, Marcus, let the shots go, bring them up, right up, left up, right hand down, there you go, look
Marcus Morrison looking to try and finish this fight on top, and he hasn't been on top too often. He has landed some sweet shots. He's shown a big heart tonight as well, Morrison, but Eubank has controlled this right from the get-go, and you've always felt from as early as the second round that if he wanted to finish it, he could have done. And he's going to finish the fight on top as well. Nice left hook around the back of the guard, just to confirm his authority.
Spirited effort from Morrison, but ultimately boxing is about levels, and I think the levels have shown tonight from Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah, levels, I think, is the word that sums that one up. It really was a big-hearted effort from Marcus Morrison, a huge chance for him, and he certainly gave it everything he had, and he certainly had his moments. I don't think his stock is diminished coming out of this one. And Eubank, well, he got what he wanted as well. Shed some of that rust.
Yeah, he did shed some of the rust, and he took probably 4 or 5 rounds to really start to put his shots together, and when he did so in really few and far between bursts, and he always looked dangerous when he did let them go. And I think the thing that impressed certainly me most was when he did have Morrison backed onto the ropes. That was the 6 jabs in succession, I think, there, Paul. He adjusted his range with his feet really well to give him space to punch and let the hands go. But our guys like Ryoto Murata, Gennady Golovkin, Charlo going to be looking at that thinking he's a real threat at 160 pound. Not yet. I certainly don't think he's flawed, he's hittable. And well, he made the choice to let Marcus Morrison off in that early flurry and give himself some rounds, and I think he was certainly buzzed in that last round there, and Morrison just didn't have enough left in the tank after been tenderised over the last 10 rounds to really capitalise on it. But Eubank Mark II, certainly a little bit of a level up there, but is it going to be enough to really challenge the top guys in the division? I'm not so sure.
We keep talking about inactivity with fighters, and we keep talking about how long you've had out the ring through no fault of their own necessarily because of what's going on. But that certainly showed tonight in the performance by Eubank. For me, I've seen many better from him, and I think we'll see many better in the future. But would the fellas at the top of the division be worried about him on that performance? No.
No, he hasn't sent a tremor through the division, has he, with that performance? But I don't think that was the objective tonight. I think the objective was just to show what he's learned, put into practice the theory that he's been working through with his new trainer, shed some of the rust, get some rounds, and it was obvious in that second round when he had Morrison in trouble, and as you say, Morrison just froze. He was there for the taking right there if Eubank really needed a quick win tonight, but he needed the rounds more than he needed the quick stoppage.
Yeah, and that's maybe the difference of Eubank Mark I and Mark II, if we're going to bookmark the iterations pre and post Roy Jones. The old Mark I Eubank would have certainly put his foot down, kept the shots flowing, and probably got Marcus Morrison out of there, but he stepped off, he got the rounds in, and he got the victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing here in Manchester, England, we go to the judges' scorecards. Marcus McDonald, Steve Gray, and Howard Foster all scored this bout identically, 98-92, all for your winner by unanimous decision, the next gen, Chris Eubank Jr.
So Eubank Jr. back to action after 18 months out since he last beat Matt Korobov late 2019. What does this year hold for him? Has mentioned those big names in the division, said he's willing to fight anybody. Quite frankly, we believe him. It's just going to be whether those opportunities present themselves and whether he can level up again from that performance, because on that, it won't be enough to challenge the top guys in the division. We'll need to show something more, but he is victorious.